She's a bad man, just as fine.
Hi, what's up you guys? How's it going? It's Papa, and today I'm going to be showing you guys my undefeated Sprite Fiend Smith deck profile that I just took to my locals, and yes, I did go undefeated with it. Yes, it's still Sprite. Yes, it's another Sprite build. Fight me. Viewers of the channel will know that I am basically a Sprite Fiend, therefore I decided why not try the Sprite Fiend Smith variant.
Shut up, bitch!
But that's besides the point. So I'm going to be showcasing you guys the deck that I just decided to play. I saw a couple lists online of people doing well with Sprite Fiend Smith, and I decided to kind of just take from those lists and give it a try. The extra deck is probably the most hardest part about this deck, as for in terms of building, because honestly everything else in the deck worked fine. The Fiend Smith cards actually really complement the Sprite cards very well. They help you play around cards like Nibiru. They help you for when you get hit by draw, basically helps you set up some kind of end board that is still playable. But before we do start this video, I want to go ahead and tell you guys to please like and subscribe for more content, because if you do like and subscribe, it lets me know that I'm doing something right. But yeah guys, we are here again with another Sprite build, so of course I'm just gonna go ahead and just jump right into it. One more side note before I do start the deck profile. Yes, of course it is another Sprite list. I sound like a broken record at this point, but I wanted to go ahead and ask you guys to please bear with me as well with the content. I know it has been kind of lacking lately, like your mom. We don't have a ban list, we don't have like the Megatons, we don't have basically any events until after Nationals. We do have a YCS in Sacramento this weekend by the time this video goes up, but unfortunately I will not be attending because it's Sacramento and I'd rather go to Anaheim, so I had to pick between the two, and I will be at Anaheim. But yeah guys, I'm not going to waste any more time. Other than that, I am again just waiting on a new ban list before I get super into deck building, but for the meantime Sprite Fiend Smith did really well for me. So of course, starting off the deck, we play the 3 copies of Sprite Blue, and then we are on 3 copies of Sprite Jet, 1 copy of Red, 1 copy of Carrot, and then 1 copy of Pixies. I see people not playing Pixies, and honestly, this is an acquired taste. This is basically the black licorice of the deck. This card is very good, don't get me wrong, but it is up to preference, and honestly, I do prefer it because it helps you protect cards like Toad. It also helps you protect your like Gigantic, your Sprint, your Masquerena, Little Knight, whatever it may be. Pixies just goes ahead and helps you out in really bad situations. So I opted just to play it. I know we don't have Elf, which is where this card really was able to shine, but honestly, still being able to Sprite for blue and have blue grab Pixies is still really good, so that way it basically protects one of your Link, Rank, or level 2s for the turn. But yeah, I honestly really liked it. I didn't really have any issues with it. It also makes it to where if you need an extra body, you don't have to waste your Red or your Carrot for your negations. You can go ahead and just start her out at Pixies. You do lose more life points doing that, but it is still an extra body to where you don't have to waste the other 2. So I did play the 9 Sprite names. I also played 3 copies of Starter. I mean, you definitely want to see this card. It is essentially how this deck works. And then I opted to play Double Cross. I am not really a huge fan of this card. I have never really been a fan of this card in the past, but I will say with the Fiend Smith Sprite build, this card is really good, and I do suggest playing it. I'm not playing Sprite Smashers in this list. I'm not playing in the main deck, and I'm not playing in the side deck. As much as I like Sprite Smashers, I don't think you really need it. I just feel like the Double Cross came up a lot more, and honestly, after playing the deck, it definitely did come up a lot more. I never missed Smashers. I didn't think Smashers was really all that good. Basically, you would only need it for cards like Dragoon, I guess, but who's playing that? So that's basically going to round up the Sprite component. I believe it is 13 cards, I think that's 13. I don't know how to count. And then for the Fiend Smith package, of course, we are on the 1 Fabled Lurie with 3 copies of Engraver, and then the 1 Fiend Smith Tract. I mean, I shouldn't really have to explain this. I get if you are a budget player, you cannot afford this engine. I totally understand. If you are not able to afford the Fiend Smith cards, then I would suggest playing just a different build of Sprite altogether. You could play Live Twins, you could play Runic, you could play Pure without any of the Fiend Smith cards, you could just play Hand Traps instead, or Board Breakers even. It really just depends on your preference and your situation. But these cards are very strong, being able to make cards like Beatrice, being able to make cards like the DDD Wave Caesar is also very good. It's just so strong, and it put in a lot of work. Basically every time I saw Engraver, the game was over. So 5 cards. And then I did play a small water package, 3 Nimble Beaver, 2 Nimble Angler. I did play the Swap Frogs. I only played 2 Swap Frogs, 1 Mirror Mage with the freezing chains to go with it. Now I will say I never missed the 3rd Swap Frog. If anything, I felt like if you wanted to play 3 Swap Frog, it was mainly to pitch the Angler out of your hand. But honestly, I did draw the second Swap Frog quite often, so it is what it is. But honestly, if you do draw the second Swap Frog, then it is totally fine, because the first Swap Frog will be able to still send your Mirror Mage as well. And then if you have access to if you have access to another sprite name in your hand as well, compared with the Swap Frog, like you basically just normal swap, send this, and then you basically make your Toad, and then if you have like Blue or Jet, then you can still special summon it while you have the Toad on board, and then it essentially means that your combo is going to go off from there. So honestly, this Frog package was very good. I think only 4 cards was necessary. Honestly, the Nimble package was insane though. Being able to just access Angler is just so good, and being able to pitch off the Swap Frog is good, of course. And then also, my opponent did pitch this out of my hand during my turn, so I got sent to the grave, and then I was able to get 2 level 2s before my turn even started, which was really good. And honestly, Angler, I kind of wish I played 3 of, but you know, it's 40 cards. I didn't really want to clog, so I felt like 2 Angler was fine. I didn't really miss a 3rd Angler, but if you want to play 3, you totally can, but I'm just keeping it at 40, which is why I'm also playing 2 Swap Frogs, because I was keeping the deck at 40. But that's it for the water package. And then of course I played some hand traps. I played 3 copies of Ash Blossom. I opted for 3 copies of Ogre. I mean, granted, you could play Veiler. I was playing Veiler before, but my locals is extremely flooded with Tenpai Dragons, so I wanted to play something that was better against Tenpai. I also wanted to have a hand trap that I could use under Shifter, which I did play 3 Shifter decks during this tournament, and I beat them all because I did play hand traps that I could activate under Dimension Shifter, which also brings me to the Infinite Impermanence. Of course, you have to play 3 Imperm. It's the best card to play around cards like Talents. It's also just very good against Shifter again. But honestly, cards were amazing. I'm glad I played these 3 hand traps. I mean, you could play Nib if you want to, you could play Droll, you could play Veiler, but again, since I have so many Shifter players on my locals, I just opted to play this lineup. And then for the rest of the non-engine, we are on 2 copies of Triple Tactics Talents. This is just for going first or going second. It's good either way. 1 Call by the Grave, just in case we draw it against Shifter, and I played the Angel Statue Azaroon for the Solo Hat Rabbit. But that's going to go ahead and round off the main deck. I'm going to show off the side deck first, because I feel like the side deck is a little bit more important than, or is a little less important than the extra deck. So I played 3 Molchummies. Cards broken. I only saw it once during the whole tournament, and it got hit by a Call by the Grave, so that is what it is. But other than that, I still feel like you should be playing this card. I played 2 copies of Dogwood, mainly just for the grind. I played 1 Red Resonator because it's mandatory. It's the best tuner in Sprite. 1 copy of Gamma Burst, 1 copy of Feather Duster, and then I opted to play some Board Breakers. I played 3 copies of Forbidden Droplet, 2 copies of Lightning Storm, and then the only card I played for going first was 2 copies of Solemn Strike. I'm sorry, this lineup is very gross. I opted for Strike. I was playing Scolding before, but honestly, playing Strike was just as good. Basically, being able to hit Tenpais is very strong, and then also being able to just stop special summonings, whatever it may be. It's good against Flute as well, because they basically can't chain block you to where they can just keep going. So honestly, Strike was very strong. I'm glad I played it. I think I would try to fit a 3rd into the side deck moving forward. But other than that, that's the side deck. And of course, we had the extra deck. We have the 1 Moon of the Closed Heaven. This card is probably getting banned. I use this card quite often. 1 copy of Fiend Smith Sequence. I never made this card. I could see myself cutting it in the future, as well as another card when I get to it. I played 1 Requiem. Card's insane. 1 Sprite Sprint, of course. Card is just busted. 1 Solo Hat Rabbit. Card is also just very good. Being able to use this card to get the Azaroon from the deck is very good. It also plays around Ash. It plays around Droll, whatever it may be. But Rabbit is really good. Also having its Spell Trap Destruction comes up a lot. Being able to out cards like Power Filter and the what's it called? The Sangan Summoning is very strong. And then I played 1 copy of Masquerena, 1 copy of Little Knight, 1 Nightmare Unicorn, which was probably the most questionable card in the extra deck. 1 Avramax, never made it. 2 Gigantic Sprite. 1 Toad. Toad, of course, because it is basically just the best card in the extra deck. 1 Wave King Caesar, 1 Lacrima, and 1 Necroquit Princess. Okay, that's better. So I opted to play this lineup mainly because I wanted to make sure that I had like sequence combos in the deck, of course, because yes, it is still a Sprite deck, but it's also packed with the Fiend Smith engine, so you want to make sure that you are ending on as much optimalness as possible. I didn't play Beatrice. I know I had said earlier in the video that you can make Beatrice. I opted not to play it because I didn't want the deck to be too focused around the Fiend Smith plays, but honestly, if I had to change something, I would probably cut the Nightmare Unicorn for the Beatrice. The problem that I had with the Beatrice mainly was the fact that I feel like it's getting banned, so I wanted to try playing the deck without it. And then also on top of that, I'm playing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. That's already over a third of the extra deck being used for basically the smallest engine of the deck. So I didn't want to make more cards in the extra deck dedicated to the Fiend Smith stuff, just in case I was to get hit by Call by the Grave or Bestial or whatever it may be, because then that means most of your extra deck is going to be shut off by that point. But honestly, the cards that I never made, I didn't make most of these cards, honestly. I didn't make Lacrima, I never made Unicorn, I never made Avermax, I never made Sequence. Other than that, every other card was used. I think every other card was mandatory, honestly. I don't see myself like wanting to cut any of those other cards. I honestly do want to fit a Beatrice in here though. Again, I do think it is going to get banned, so I did want to try playing without it. But other than that, the deck was really solid. I think it was really well put together, and that's gonna do it for the deck profile. Yeah, I honestly encourage you guys to give this deck a chance. I mean, it's Sprite at the end of the day, but it is probably one of the more fun, affordable Fiend Smith decks that you can play. I mean, don't get me wrong, the deck does have a ceiling, a very small ceiling, but honestly, if you know how to play the deck, if you know how to play sprites, then the deck just basically flows by itself. It was really consistent. I didn't have any issues with it at all. Again, I think the only thing that I would change to the deck is just a Beatrice being added to it. I would probably still keep the Avermax though and just cut the Unicorn. Other than that, I think the deck was really solid. But let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you thought. Let me know what you want to see in the near future. And until next time, guys, this has been Papa, and I will definitely catch you all in my next video.